Dear students, today the topic is the diaphragm. We have in our human body, there are many diaphragms. The diaphragm is the largest musculo-aponeurotic partition present in the in between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. The other diaphragm which are present in our body, that is the pelvic diaphragm, urogenital diaphragm, diaphragma oris present in the oral cavity, and diaphragm present in the iris. Now, the shape of the diaphragm you can perceive, that is the dome shaped. It has got right dome and the left dome. This is the superior surface of the diaphragm, and this is the inferior surface of the diaphragm. The right dome, the summit of the two dome is called the cupula, and the right dome is more elevated than the left dome due to the presence of the right lobe of the liver. Now, let us see how the diaphragm is placed in our body. So, the students, let us see how the diaphragm is placed in our body. These two are the dome of the diaphragm. This musculo-aponeurotic partition is present in between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity. So, we can perceive the superior surface of the diaphragm. The fibrous pericardium is attached with the diaphragm. The both dome of the diaphragm is related with the right pleural sac and the left pleural sac, and the central position is related with the pericardium on the superior surface. Now, coming to the inferior surface. On the inferior surface, below the right dome of diaphragm lies the right lobe of the liver, and the left dome of diaphragm is related with the left lobe of liver, fundus part of the stomach, then spleen, then suprarenal gland and kidney. Now, coming to the origin of the diaphragm. As I have told that it is a musculo-aponeurotic partition, lies between the abdominal cavity and the thoracic cavity. So, it has got muscular part and the tendinous or aponeurotic part. The muscular part, it takes three origin: sternal origin, costal origin, and then vertebral or lumbar origin. First, the sternal origin. It takes origin by two fleshy sleeves from the back of the xiphoid process, that is the sternal part. Then, coming to the costal part. Costal part, it is the circumferential part which takes origin from the lower 6 ribs, their cartilages, interdigitating with the transversus abdominis muscle. Sternal part from the back of the xiphoid process, costal part, lower 6 ribs, inner surface along with their costal cartilage, interdigitating with the transversus abdominis muscle. Then third origin is the vertebral origin or lumbar origin. Now, the vertebral part or lumbar part. There are three sources. One source is the right crus of the diaphragm. This is the right crus. It takes origin anterolateral surface of the upper three lumbar vertebra and the left crus of the diaphragm that takes origin from the anterolateral surface of the upper two lumbar vertebra. Now, the second vertebral source is the medial arcuate line. Medial arcuate line. Medial arcuate line. Arcuate ligament. The medial arcuate ligament, it is formed by the condensation of the upper part of the fascia covering the psoas muscle, psoas major and minor muscle. It is attached with the lateral margin of the right crus and left crus, and it extends up to the tip of the transverse process of the lumbar 1 vertebra. That is the medial arcuate ligament. Medial arcuate ligament. And the third source is the lateral arcuate ligament. Lateral arcuate ligament, how it is formed? It is from the condensation of the fascia upper part covering the quadratus lumborum muscle. It takes origin from the tip of the transverse process of the lumbar 1 vertebra, then lower border of the 12th rib on each side. So, the vertebral or lumbar origin of the diaphragm from the right crus, from the left crus, medial arcuate ligament, lateral arcuate ligament. Now, different major openings of the diaphragm. I have told it is the partition between the thoracic cavity and abdominal cavity, but it has got some major openings and minor openings which allow the different structure from the passage of the different structure from the thoracic cavity to abdominal cavity and the vice versa. Then now I am describing the different major opening of the diaphragm. What are the major opening? The vena cava opening. The vena cava opening. What are the major opening in the diaphragm? The vena cava opening, the esophageal opening, and the aortic opening. So, the vena cava opening, the esophageal opening, and the aortic opening. Now, coming to the viscera. Has got muscular part and the central tendon or the aponeurotic part. It has got 3 leaflets, the median leaflets, right leaflets, left leaflets. In between the median and the right leaflets, there lies the vena cava opening. It is quadrangular in shape and it allows the passage of inferior vena cava along with the right phrenic nerve, lymphatics coming from the bare area of the liver. It is attached with the tendinous part of the diaphragm. Diaphragm is the chief muscle of the respiration. During respiration, it contracts and the tendinous part descends down. Then, with the tendinous part, the vena cava opening also dilates and more blood enters through the inferior vena cava to the right atrium. Now, coming to the second major opening, that is the esophageal opening. That is the esophageal opening. We can perceive in this way. This is the esophageal opening. This is the stalk of the esophagus. So, this opening is the esophageal opening. And the shape of the esophageal opening is elliptical. And the vena cava opening is quadrilateral. the esophageal opening is elliptical and it lies left to the midline. The vena cava opening lies right to the midline. The vena cava opening lies at the level of thoracic vertebra 8. The esophageal opening lies at the level of thoracic vertebra 10. The esophageal opening allows the passage of esophagus along with the right and left vagal trunk, lymphatics, epigastric vessels, and it has got muscular loop or sling coming from the right crus. It has got muscular sling coming from the right crus of the diaphragm. Now, coming to the third opening, that is the osteofibrotic opening, that is the aortic opening. During contraction, the esophageal opening constricted. So, inspiration and deglutition does not occur simultaneously. The third opening is the aortic opening, that is the osteofibrotic opening. You cannot perceive here, but in the body we can perceive the aortic opening. This is the abdominal aorta. So, descending aorta, it is descending through the osteofibrotic opening into the abdominal cavity, and it allows the abdominal aorta, passage of abdominal aorta along with thoracic duct and the azygos vein. And during contraction of the diaphragm, it does not change its shape. Now, coming to the supply of the diaphragm. The diaphragm motor supply, as it descends from the neck to the thoracic region, it innervates or it receives the nerves from the cervical 3, 4, 5 segment, and during descent, being a loyal nerve, it is descending along with the diaphragm. So, it is supplied by the phrenic nerve, the nerve root. It takes nerve root from the cervical 3, 4 and 5 cervical nerve. Now, coming to the sensory nerve, central tendon, it is supplied by the central tendon, it is sensory supply from the phrenic nerve, and the peripheral part, it takes sensory nerve from the intercostal space. Now, coming to the development, the central tendon, vena cava opening, esophageal opening, it takes origin from the septum transversum. The other developmental origin of the diaphragm is the paired posterolateral part. It takes origin from the pleuropericardial membrane. The peripheral part, it takes origin from the thoracic wall, shelf-like projection from the thoracic wall, and the dorsal part behind the esophageal opening, it takes origin from the dorsal mesentery, of the esophagus.